Hello and welcome back to the latest episode of the Laura and Becky Show. We were radio presenters, we got the boot, so we flew to Mallorca, got very drunk and decided to start this podcast.
We are now sponsored by East Midlands Airport, Red Brick Estate Agents and the Casa Hotel Group. Can I start off by saying hello to Amy, and I'd like to apologise.
Why? What have you done to Amy?
So lovely Amy, we met a couple of weeks ago because she did our nails for us, didn't she?
She did, yes. Thank you, Amy. In fact, should we give her nail business a little plug? It's at Lusso Beauty Co. She's fabulous.
She's lovely. Anyway, yesterday on the pod, we were talking about selling Sunset. Yeah. And we were talking about, I just flippantly went, oh, those houses aren't for sale. Well, I think I've ruined people's...
Have you peed on her bonfire?
Yeah. She literally messaged, but Laura, what do you mean the houses aren't for sale? It's even the way she said it. I thought, oh, Amy.
So innocent.
What do you mean? And she went, it's just ruined for me. I was
like, oh no, Amy.
And then I started thinking, hang on, how do I know all this? And I remember I listened to a podcast that Christine Quinn was on.
That is so weird. You've just said that. And this is proof that our phones listen to us, because this morning, first thing I did when I opened my little peepers was go onto TikTok.
Yeah.
That video came up. Oh. Yeah, do you know what? It's really bad, actually. I go onto TikTok, literally my eyes aren't even open.
You can't focus. You're like, you have to wait for your eyes to work.
And I'm like, keep flicking, keep watching, even though you're not probably awake yet.
Focus!
So literally that video came up with Christine on, where she was being interviewed on a podcast, and she was saying, actually, the listings aren't real. They're like friends' houses, and we just borrow the houses for the day.
I know. I'm sorry. So I'd like to say, I'm sorry, but listen, this season, which we'll talk about in a bit, is so obviously just fake. Like the first season, I don't think was too fake.
Yeah.
Now it's fake. But listen, I apologise. I'm sure some of the houses are for sale. Some of them.
I think some of them are. I think Christine said that on the podcast, didn't she? Also, actually, no. We'll save this. I was going to go on a bit of a selling Sunset rant, but let's save it when we talk about it later. Can we just really quickly talk about... what happened when we went to get our nails done with Amy, who you've just mentioned.
Yeah.
So we basically kind of double booked ourselves, didn't we? So we went to get our nails done, and we also had a Zoom video meeting at the same time. But we were like, it'll be fine, we'll get our nails done, but we'll have the meeting at the same time. Obviously, it's not the best idea to have a video meeting when you're there getting pampered.
Well, God knows what the woman thought. Maybe she thought you didn't have any hands and you just hiding them, because you were like, your hands were stretched to the side, weren't they? She must have thought, what is she doing? What's wrong with her arms?
Maybe she did think that I had weird hands and I didn't want to show them.
And then you kept disappearing and coming back, like choosing your colour. Yeah. Just doing that.
So literally, we were both on screen, but I was only on screen probably half the time, because I was like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Then I was like, yeah, can I have a French manicure, please, in the background? But she didn't, the women we were having the meeting with didn't question it the whole time. She didn't go like, are you all right there? Or what's going on? She just carried on as normal.
Weirdly, we didn't say at the start, oh, by the way, just in case, we're having our nails done.
Yeah, why didn't we say that?
Because usually we would, but we didn't.
Thought she wouldn't notice, but then I was literally like with my hands off camera the whole time.
Thank you, Amy, and go and check out her Insta page. And I'm sorry I ruined Selling Sunset for you. Sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry, Amy. Okay, my morning this morning, right, started off at 5:30.
What? Why so early?
Shall I tell you why?
Yeah, go on.
My husband's vibrating watch. But let me tell you,
this was done and dusted.
My husband wasn't even there.
Oh yeah, he was away last night.
Yeah.
So he left the watch?
He left the watch on the side.
Rude.
Let me tell you, have you ever seen anything vibrate on a hard surface? It goes nuts.
I
it's
have,
like,
I have, yes.
Like that. So, 5:30, I hear this noise. I think it's someone with a chainsaw out in the back garden. So when you're like a little bit like, so I just literally just stood up and like looked out of my skylight. I was like, what's that? It was like, vroom, vroom, vroom. And I was like, holy shit, what's happening? And then I kind of like stood there and I thought, oh no, something's vibrating. And I looked at the watch and I was just like,
you,
that watch. Yeah, just there, vroom, vroom, across the sideboard. I was just like,
I bet your husband got a text this morning, didn't he? An angry text.
I got up so quick it gave me tummy ache. I lay back down and even my tummy was like, ooh.
Steady on.
You moved a bit quick there. Yeah.
So, because we talked about the vibrating watch last season, I think it was. So, is your husband using this every morning? Is this a thing that he now uses religiously?
I think he uses it every morning. Actually, to be fair, I hear it sometimes, but
you got used to it.
I've kind of got used to it, but not when he's not there and it's just on the side. So he didn't take his vibrating watch with him.
How did he wake up when he was away? You better ring him. Maybe he slept through. Maybe he's not even awake yet.
Well, I spoke to him. I was like, by the way, your vibrating watch. And he just went, oh, sorry.
Sorry, love.
If the tables were turned, he would not be happy.
I'm surprised you didn't go more in on him.
I'm going to leave something vibrating when I go away.
What are you going to leave for him?
I'm going to leave him something. Yeah.
Something vibrating on a hard surface.
What could it be? Anyway, then I fell back to sleep and I slept until 7:35. So I woke up, I was like, shit. Ran downstairs. Rosie, still fast asleep because she couldn't be bothered to get up. So I was like, Rosie, it's 25 to 8, get up. And you'd think she'd be like, oh no, and jump up. She was like, what?
No
and I thought, here we go, got to activate the 14-year-old, haven't I? So I just thought, this is not going to be a good morning. All right. So I thought, no urgency then. I was like, you need to get up. Okay. And I thought, she's just going to presume I'm going to give her a lift without asking me.
Oh.
Yeah. So I thought, I'll see how this plays out. So anyway, I went downstairs, started making like a ham sandwich for lunch because the husband's like, I have to make it and she gets basic food.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Beige.
TikTok's on. I pop it up on my little shelf.
I love that we both start our mornings with TikTok, by the way. It's the only way to start your day.
So what pops up is, I'm going to try really hard not to cry here, okay? And if I do, it's perimenopause. That's what I'm dreaming. Have you ever seen the film The Colour Purple?
No. Never heard of it.
Oh, God. Okay,
What's it about?
If anyone now will know why I'm not trying to cry, if you've ever seen The Colour Purple, it is the most wonderfully emotionally damaging films you could ever watch. It's an 80s film. It's got Oprah Winfrey in. It's got Whoopi Goldberg, Danny Glover. Becky, do yourself a favour. Never watch it.
Okay. Take it off your list.
It's such a good film and it won so many Oscars, but it's so sad. There's two scenes in that film where it's just awful.
Are you going to go?
No, I'm trying really hard not
to.
But it's my sister and me weirdly used to watch it a lot. I don't quite know what this is about us, but oh God, it's such a good film. So I almost want you to watch it, but I don't.
So what was it? A clip on TikTok that you saw this morning then from the film?
No, so they're bloody remaking it.
Oh, God,
I don't know why.
Not round two.
Oprah Winfrey, who was in the original, has remade it.
Okay.
So there was her and the people she's cast in it, and they watched the trailer of their new film for the first time. Well, that was it.
You were crying whilst making a ham sandwich.
Oh my God. I was
14-year-old.
So Rosie, here comes the 14-year-old, walks in. She just went, oh my God. She's like, what are you watching? And I was like, oh, your breakfast. Anyway, she sits down and I'm like, so am I giving you a lift to school? She went, yeah. As if like, yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
I
hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. I went, what about yes, please, mum? Can she say yes, please, mum? What do you think?
Nope.
She literally went, mum, like trying to say it. She went, yes, please. Like that.
What is that, like 14-year-old language?
It just couldn't come out of her. You know, saying please or thank you. She starts like
convulsing.
Yeah. So I was like, sorry. She went, music. And just walked out. So I was just like, oh my God. Sorry, I thought I wasn't recording.
I saw her in action on, when was it we went to the pub? In fact, we went to the pub a lot over the weekend, didn't we?
God.
Sunday.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember what we were talking about now, but she was looking at you because you said something. She went, no, you're not, mum. I know what you're doing, mum.
Yeah.
And she was literally like, the head was going, wasn't it, like this? And she was like, and I thought, oh, there we go.
The attitude on it. It is, I mean, it's actually quite fascinating, but I have to, I mean, I went downstairs and I thought, just sit down, have a cup of tea and just patiently wait for her to get herself ready, because you shouting at her is not going to help. You
should do like a David Attenborough style thing, you know, where you're like,
comes the
here we have a
14-year-old,
a 14-year-old, a lone 14-year-old.
Yeah. So no, I took her to school and she went, can you drop me off nearer to school than you usually do? I went, no, because I guess get stuck in traffic. So she literally just got out of the car. She went, see ya. And
slammed the door?
Well, it wasn't as if she'd have slammed it, there'd been trouble. No, she didn't. I think she knows that would.
She knows how to push it.
But I thought, just who's winning here? She's off to school for a day. I'm like, see ya later.
I'm being feral. So I'm actually a little bit hungover today. I'm not gonna.
Do you know what?
lie.
Monday nights for you. You're always a bit hungover on a Tuesday morning.
Well, it's a kid-free night on a Monday night, you see. So obviously, I make the most of that time.
You won't go to the gym.
No, guys, what else is there to do than have a drink when you haven't got a kid? I also haven't got the school run on a Tuesday, so I'm like,
right. It's like a Saturday night for you.
I actually think it is my Saturday night. Monday night is my Saturday night.
I love how it's no one else's.
I know.
So you're literally just like on your own.
Well, I'll be texting people like, are you free tonight? Nope. Are you free tonight? They're like, It's a Monday night, Becky. But I've got into a little bit of a routine. So, right, if you are a single gal like me, right, I've got a top tip, okay? Because in your garden, there's always things that like you can't do yourself, or it's kind of like, a bit of an effort to do. So I had a few bits and bobs that I needed doing. Like my lawn needed to be mown, right? It needed to be trimmed. Some weeds needed to be got out. Just some general maintenance I hadn't done.
Yes.
So what you need to do is start having what I like to call a gardening party, okay?
Right.
So this isn't a garden party. Don't get confused. This is not a garden party. This is a gardening party.
Right.
So last night, had a few people over, you good self included. It was a lovely evening.
Yeah.
And I had somebody mowing and trimming. Mario, thank you to you. Need to give him a shout out. But then there was a problem. There was no, I had no extension lead.
Let me just rewind here. First of all, I was not invited to this gardening party until you needed something.
Well, you were last minute, yeah.
So I only got an invite to the gardening party because you needed my extension lead.
Yes.
And some garlic puree.
Yes. All the essentials. But what I think is important to note here, right, is you tempt people over with wine, alcohol, I don't know, limoncello we even had last night. Tempt them over with whatever, right?
Right.
But they have to bring something and do something.
Right.
So obviously you brought over the extension lead and the garlic puree.
Yeah, this was on a promise. Actually, I have to say, when I got in the car, on my evening when my husband wasn't around, where I could have just been feral, I thought, that bitch hasn't got a pale rosé waiting for me. If I walk in and you're like, I'm really sorry I've got no pale rosé. Oh, I just thought that'd be it.
No, hun, I've always got booze in the house, okay? I've always got booze of some description in my house. The day I haven't, there's something wrong. There's something very wrong. I've got no food.
Yeah, booze.
But I've got booze in the house at all times.
Yeah.
So there was a glass of rosé there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There was. So basically, we then proceeded to sit there. So you brought the extension lead. Mario then, he cracked on. He didn't waste any time.
Trimming.
He could have sat down with us and had a drink, but he cracked on, got the work done.
I don't think he could have, because you're like, Mario, you're gonna start strimming, love. Come on, this is not a garden party, Mario.
Gardening
this is a gardening
party.
Do they not have them in Italy, Mario? Do they? Come on, vamos.
Yeah.
Is that right? Vamos.
Is that Spanish? What did you say to me last night? You said something, and obviously, guys, Mario's Italian, and you said like blah blah blah. And I was like, mate, that's Spanish. Like, he's Italian. What was it?
I can't remember. I just love the fact I walked in and Becky had cooked pasta.
Yeah.
And
for
Despacito was playing. I was like, what's going on here?
And I had a Spanish playlist on.
And a Spanish gardener.
It was all very confusing. But we did start the night with shots of limoncello.
Right.
Which is always going to be the start to a good night. Anyway, he cracked on. We sat there drinking rosé whilst Mario trimmed and mowed my garden.
But what I love is that we were talking about Mario as he was trimming. But of course, he's trimming. He can't hear us. So we're like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, in the background. But then when he stopped trimming, we were like, oh, right, what are you doing tomorrow? Like the conversation just completely changed. He must have thought we were absolutely nuts.
I know, I love it. But he did a very good job this morning. I went out in my hungover state in my dressing gown with a coffee, and I looked around and I thought, damn,
Mario's gonna. That Italian can strim.
He can strim and he can come again.
Strimming and winning, that is.
Oh,
Streaming
my
and
God,
winning.
streaming and
Yeah.
winning. I love it.
By the way, I am not doing any of your gardening.
I was thinking about this.
No, absolutely not.
Well, you last night were giving me some gardening tips.
Yeah,
and I
that's
actually
as
think
far
you're
as-
the gal to
No,
come
no.
over and show me, because you were like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I was like, what?
No,
I
I got my own garden,
show
babe.
me.
Absolutely not. No,
Your
because I'm not
your
showing you
garden's
that.
so nice. I think you need to come and
I'm
like
not
sprinkle
showing
a bit of that
I'm
on
not
mine.
stupid. Listen, I know you.
Come on, for a pale rosé.
No.
Come on, two glasses
I
of
can
pale
get
rosé.
my own pale rosé. I've got my own garden. Yeah, there was some paving slabs. Just some slabs on Becky's grass, right?
So
and
they're,
she was
they're
like,
underneath where a shed used to
Yeah.
be. That's why they're
the
there.
shed was on the paving slabs. So then Becky was like, I don't know what to do with them. And I was like, just take them up. And she's like, I don't know what's underneath. And I was like, it's just going to be soil. It'll be a cave.
See, you need to come and help a girl
Absolutely
out, because
not.
I've got
I am
no
not
idea
doing
what
it.
I'm doing.
You can borrow my strimmer. You can borrow the extension lead. I
Yeah.
am not doing your garden. Absolutely not.
You wait, guys. I'll have her
I
there.
won't.
I'll have a limoncello, and then she'll be there watering my garden one night. Watch this space.
We need to quickly talk about our first birthday party because
Yes.
it is nearly upon us.
I know we keep saying we're going to talk about it, and then we forget. So obviously it's a year since we started the podcast, isn't it? And we can't let this go by without celebrating it. We need to have a little shindig for this, and having a little shindig is exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah, so we're going to have it at Bar in Casa, which is our lovely sponsors, and it's going to be a vibe. I think that's what the kids say nowadays.
It really is. We've got some big plans, some big things going on in the background, and a great guest list as well, actually.
Great guest list. You know, if you're a little feral, you're going to meet other little ferals.
Yeah.
You know, if your sponsors are going to meet sponsors, hopefully Johan's going to be there. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, you get to meet Johan. It's going to just be a really fun night, isn't it? But obviously, if you're a little feral, so if you've subscribed to our podcast, and I feel like some people get confused sometimes with what subscribing is.
As in me and you.
Yeah, so let us explain. So you can subscribe, right? The link is in our Insta bios and also in the description of this podcast, wherever you listen. So what you need to do, obviously if you listen normally, but you can get extra episodes and no ads, and also get an invite to our first birthday party. So go subscribe.
Yeah, so it's like £3 a month to subscribe.
It's literally nothing. It's what you'd spend on a coffee.
I would say you're becoming a little feral, okay?
Yeah.
Subscribe. You can click like the like button on Spotify and that just kind of notifies you when our podcast uploads and blah, blah, blah. But if you want to join the gang, then that's how you do it. Just click the link in the description to this podcast.
Yeah.
Join us and you can come to our first birthday party.
Yeah. And we want
And
you
we can
there.
have a limoncello shot. Yay! Okay, what's going on in the world? Selling Sunset.
Now I'm kind of a bit annoyed about this because you've actually jumped ahead of me. So
I'm sorry.
I started
I'm ever
watching
so sorry.
it first, and I was like, okay, right, we're going to be at the same place. But now you've jumped ahead.
You're having gardening parties and getting drunk on a Monday
that's why.
night. Do you know what I
I
mean?
that's
I
why.
went home, got into bed and watched Selling Sunset, mate.
I planned to do it last night, but I was a little bit too drunk.
It's good. Oh,
What episode are you on?
So I think I'm on like 5. I think I've nearly finished 5, maybe.
Stop.
It's good. It gets. It's all. Sorry, Amy, and anyone listening. It's all set up, obviously, but there is one bit in it this morning where I paused it and I was like, no way.
Who does it involve? Don't give anything away because we haven't seen
Oh
it.
no,
but
this
who's it
doesn't give
involve?
anything away. I can literally tell you.
Okay.
Guess what they drink?
Pale rosé.
Picantes. I know.
Oh my days.
She went, you want a margarita? And she's like, yeah, sure. And she goes in and she went, is it a spicy one? She went, yeah. And she drank it and she was like, oh, that's spicy. And she went, that's a picante. And I was like,
Guys, I mean, if we didn't tell you about Picantes
said it
here
first.
first, we got in there before Selling Sunset. Remember where you heard about Picantes first? It was here.
it was basically here.
Right here.
Right here. Just quickly as well, another what's going on in the world. I know it's, we've talked about this yesterday, but Phil and Holly, the saga continues. Eamon Holmes, did you watch the clip?
I am feeling Eamon Holmes' vibe. But I think he's my favourite person in the whole of this like saga. I love watching him.
He is going in. Also, obviously, we were doing the pod yesterday when This Morning aired at 10:30. So
Yeah.
we watched the clip. I would love to know how many people tuned in at 10:30.
They probably had
And
their best viewing figures ever.
Yeah, and then turned off at 10:30 and 30 seconds because that tribute to Philip Schofield, It was like he had died.
Well, we watched it, didn't we, afterwards? And we were literally like, I'm sorry, has Philip Schofield died? It was, if you haven't seen this, it wasn't even a video tribute, right? He's been on that show for 21 years. He didn't even get a video montage, right? They showed 3 headshots of him, 3 different headshots from when he was on This Morning. That's offensive.
It's almost like I would have rather you not mention me.
Same.
If I was supposed to, I'd been like, that is...
That's embarrassing.
When they're like, morning. You know, it's like, dun, 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 and they're like, morning. We can't obviously start this without blah, 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 blah. And they showed 3 photos and then she was like, right, and coming up on the show today. And then that's it. Off they go.
We were saying as well, though, weren't we? Because you know what it's like whenever we've been on the radio and you've got to do something serious, or even on this podcast, if we're talking about serious stuff, we will often, just before we go on, we have a fit of laughter. It's because you're not allowed to laugh and you have to be a certain way, so it makes you laugh. So I bet Alison and Dermot were literally like, don't look at me. No, don't, because I'm going to laugh. Dermot, don't. Yeah. I bet they were just like that before going on.
You would have had to, I'd have sat there and gone, you're going to have to do this. Yeah. You're going to have to do it. I cannot do this. I remember once I was doing a breakfast show with Ricky.
Yeah.
And he'd had to do it all. There's so many things. I was like, you are going to have to do this. And there was one where this guy rang in. Oh, God. And someone quite well known in the area had died. And they were old. You know, it was sad. And anyway, this guy rang in and he went, well, you know what they say, Ricky. And we're both on air and Mike's alive. And Ricky goes, oh, what's that? And he went, well, you only die once. And you can hear me in the background go... And I literally threw my mic and just flung on the floor because I thought they're going to hear me laugh and I'm going to get fired. So I literally flung myself under the desk. Poor God. Ricky's like, no, you are right. Carried on the call whilst I'm like dying on the floor.
What is it though about when you're not meant to laugh, you want to laugh? It's like at a funeral.
I know.
You always want to laugh at a funeral. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
Very odd. But yeah, I reckon, beforehand they'd have been like, oh, here we go. Don't laugh.
They'd have been in a fit of laughter.
Can you imagine? Imagine if they'd have laughed.
God.
Saga continues.
Mate, we are doing something that we've never done before. And in fact, we've been trying to book in on this, haven't we, for weeks and weeks now, and haven't been able to book in. So today is the day, but you're not feeling it at all, even though you were the one who booked us in.
I know. Well,
but you're not feeling it today.
So cold water therapy is all the rage at the moment, isn't it? If you've got one of those cold water tanks, pools, whatever they're called, what are they called?
Pods. Cold water bath thing?
Is that it?
Yeah, I think
in your garden.
Water.
People like film themselves getting them it's like all the rage. Wim Hof, isn't it?
He kind of started it, didn't he? That's where people got interested in it.
Do you know what? Hopefully we're going to have someone on the pod talking about this soon, but it is apparently very good for you. If you do it regularly, it like reduces brown fat and all that stuff.
It's kind of like having a cold shower, isn't it? Everyone was talking about cold showers for a while. It's just it's cold water therapy, isn't it, basically?
So we obviously don't know a lot about it, but we're going to find out about it. And my sister's got one. And you can pay. She's like,
she owns one.
She's got one, yeah.
How often does she go in it?
I think she goes in it like every other day. She loves it.
And has she noticed a difference?
I think so. I mean, she's quite fit anyway, my sister. So I don't know. Oh God.
Do you know what? It's the thought though. Like I can't think of anything worse. And of an evening, you're all relaxed, and you think, I'm going to go and jump in my freezing cold bath at the bottom of my garden.
They all do it though. All the body coach, he does it. Wim Hof, Holly, she does it. Holly Willoughby. Anyway, so we are going to cold plunge in Chesterfield in fact, 25 minutes. Now. I'm on my period, guys. We know this week. Sorry to keep going on about this.
It's a bad one.
It's a bad one. So I'm a little bit like, I don't know if it's the right time of the month for me to go in it.
Let me just set the scene, right? So Laura has booked this in for us and she was like, right, cold plunge, booked in today. I was like, okay. Then she comes in and goes, yeah, I think you might have to do it by yourself. I don't think I can do it because my period's really heavy. And I'm like, you are coming in with me.
Well, I mean, like, I don't think we should be in it for too long either, because I think, like if
5 seconds.
Sorry.
No, you're going to start faking a cough now. I can't go in. No, I'm so ill.
I think I will try and manage. If I do 30 seconds, I'll be really pleased. But I'm a bit worried about what if I have like a heart attack?
So what do we actually have to do? Because I don't really know. So do we have to submerge ourselves?
You get into a tank.
And how cold is it?
Cold.
Like how
cold?
Cold?
Enough.
What sort of temperature?
It's not bath temperature.
God. This is, and I have to be honest, this is my idea of hell.
Have you ever been to Centre Parks? They've got
Yeah.
a cold plunge, like a little pool
Yeah.
that you jump in. I mean, I go in that and it's like daggers are going
my God.
in me. But it's supposed to be really... I think... So what I've watched is the fact that you have to battle with your mind to even get in it is really good, because that's one thing. So if you get in it, and even if you send it for 10 seconds, at least you've battled with yourself and you've
made
overcome
yourself
it.
get in.
And then you just have to try. But I think if we haven't done it before, we ain't staying there for long.
Oh, mate, you know what I'm like. I am probably the coldest person. I feel the cold ridiculously. I mean, this is me was having my heating on in May, beginning of May. So I don't know how I'm going to cope with this. This is literally my worst nightmare.
I think we're going together. I think it's a double plunge.
Oh, together?
I think we're double plunging.
Is that going to be the name of this pod? We are going double plunging together.
We're double
today.
plunging. I want a double plunge. But I don't know. Can I go in?
We're either going to be like really good for each other going in and like G each other on, or we're going to be terrible and be like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, we're going and we've literally got to go. So we'll let you know how it goes.
Should we
tomorrow.
video this today as well and put it on our Instas?
I don't know. Or maybe we'll just record ourselves. Audio. Let's do audio. I can't record myself cold plunging. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see that.
I think people might want to see us double cold plunging.
Well, you maybe, not me.
Yeah.
I'll film you.
You with your heavy period.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, I was going to say, there's no more.
Sorry.
That's us all out today, isn't it? Just quickly, go and subscribe. Do it in our Insta bios and the bio here to come to our first birthday party.
Please.